Hey guys, it's Rich Boy J here, back again with another video, and I'm with Garrett. And today we're going to be doing another episode of LEGO Star Wars Talk. So we've been doing these before, and I think we've kind of worked out a general structure that we want to do for these. So today we're first going to talk about the most recent wave that came out. So we have a few of the sets right here. Going to give our opinion on those. Second, we're going to actually look at today's topic, which is going to be, are LEGO sets nowadays better than they have been, or is there a specific era that was like a golden era for LEGO Star Wars and it's better than how it was before and after that? And then last, we're going to give our opinions on some of the rumored sets that are coming out, and we'll have some little fun things here and there throughout the show. So without further ado, let's break into this most recent wave. We can start with the smaller sets and go to the bigger ones because that's usually how I build. I think that's how Garrett builds too. So the first two sets are the Micro Fighters, the one with Chewbacca and the Millennium Falcon, and the one with the not Special Forces TIE Pilot inside of the Special Forces TIE Fighter. So, Garrett, what do you think about those two sets?
Well, I skipped them both.
Yeah.
No, actually, I bought the Millennium Falcon Microfighter on accident.
On accident?
I grabbed it, and I don't know why. I remember thinking to myself, like, I don't need this. I have enough Chewbacca's.
Yeah.
But I bought it. I haven't put it together yet. But it's a good set if you don't have Chewie.
I suppose.
That's about all I have to say for it. It's a nice microfighter. I mean, it looks better than like the older one.
I'll agree with that. Yeah, it looks better, but it's just I felt like both of those were just missed opportunities. I honestly would have preferred if they had just included a Porg instead of Chewie, or included a Porg with Chewie to give people a little bit more of an incentive to buy the set, because Chewbacca's not like a hard figure to find. Like, he's come in quite a few sets nowadays. It's not updated in any way, so I think having a Porg in there or something like that to give people an extra incentive to go buy the set, who have been collecting a lot of sets recently.
That should have been his accessory. Instead of a bowcaster, he's just holding a Porg.
That would have been awesome! Like, honestly, it'd be nice to have maybe an easier way to get Porgs. Like, they obviously came in the Octo set, but, I mean, you want more than one Porg.
They gotta keep them exclusive.
Oh, yeah, you gotta buy that Millennium Falcon.
But yeah, so it's fine if you want the Chewie. It's fine.
I guess.
That's the opinion.
Yeah, I think it's a fine build, but I think they could have been doing a little bit more. The one that is absolutely inexcusable, though, is that First Order TIE Fighter. Dude, I don't, like, how did they make this mistake twice? The first one I can kind of excuse them on, because maybe they didn't even know that the Red Stripe pilot was actually going to be a thing. But this one, perfect opportunity to include the Red Stripe pilot, and I feel like it probably would have been easier for them because the set that pilot came in, that it comes with without the red stripes, is out of production. I don't think they sell that First Order TIE Fighter anymore, but they do sell Kylo's TIE Silencer, which has the red stripes, so they literally had to go out of their way and go back and change the ones that are being printed to have the not red stripes. There's literally someone in that warehouse who was like, yeah, we're not going to give them the red stripes. Let's go back to the old one. I think that's inexcusable. Like, I have really strong opinions about this because that's honestly my favorite figure right now. I know you were expecting this, but that's my favorite figure right now, and I don't understand why it's so hard for them to just give us a Special Forces TIE Pilot. It's not a new mold. You clearly have the mold. It's literally just printing 2 red stripes on the helmet. I don't know. That really steamed me. I didn't appreciate that.
It's got to stay the exclusive figure for the TIE Silencer. At the moment, it's the only one that's exclusive to that set.
I guess that's true. I don't know.
BB-9E or whatever.
It was in the Star Destroyer.
In the Star Destroyer. It's just a Stormtrooper, and the Kylo Ren comes in the Microfighters, so.
I don't know, dude. Why would they do that, though? Like, perfect opportunity. And
LEGO always does stuff like this.
No, but it wouldn't even be that bad except for the fact that it's inaccurate. Like, that, like, the Special Forces pilot should be in that ship. It isn't even like, oh, we're giving you this bonus thing. It's like, no, that's where he belongs. That's the guy that belongs in that ship. That would be like if the, like, new-haired Han only came in the Millennium Falcon and every other Han had the old Lego hair. Like, no, this is the more accurate version of it. Why not give us that? That's what I don't understand.
I mean, I would have liked to get it. I can't say I'm as passionate as you are on the subject, but it would have been nice to get one.
I have 5 of those TIE Fighters, okay? And I have 1 of the Special Forces pilots. I don't even have enough of those to fill 1 of the TIE Fighters I have.
Should make you feel more special towards him now.
I suppose.
He's even more valuable.
I don't treat my Lego like that. I can't have restraint like that. If there's something I like when it comes to Lego, I need more. All right, we're going to move on past that. So next is going to be the Micro Fighters, like the double packs. How do you feel about them doing the double packs of these?
I I've never really loved microfighters one way or the other, so like it's usually something I get just for figures.
Right.
And these, I mean, if in the future, if all their double pack microfighters are as, I think they're all really good. Like,
Yeah.
I thought they're pretty great. So if they're all in this kind of quality, then I would say like, yeah, it's a great thing to do, and to have them kind of go with each other thematically, like
Right.
putting the Walker with the skimmer, and Kylo's silencer with the A-wing. It fits, and it gives you figures that otherwise we missed out on,
Right.
or even with the Kylo Ren one, where it gives you a figure that's like kind of sought after and a much easier way to get it. And build wise, I think like the A-wing is really good.
Oh yeah, the A-wing's very nice.
And the skimmer and the Walker are both pretty good. Kylo's TIE silencer is not very good.
Yeah.
But
That was
like,
not great.
But you buy these sets for the figures, and all the figures are great.
Yeah, no, I actually really like it. I guess the more annoying thing for me is I think people typically do buy the microfighters for the minifigures, and double packing them kind of it works for and against it. Like, it's good thing that like you can get kind of a full scene worth of microfighters in one set, but if you wanted to collect, say, like 3 of the Green Squadron pilots from The Last Jedi, then you would end up with having to pay basically twice the price for each one, because you would be forced to then buy the double pack. So I don't know, maybe if they're a little bit more strategic with kind of how the double packs work, like
Sure.
putting 2 figures that you wouldn't need a lot of in the double packs, that way the single packs can give you more incentive to buy multiples of them. Because now, like, whereas if Tally came in her own, I'd probably buy like a few of those, but since she's in the double pack, like, I don't think I'll buy another one of those. I'll just stick with one of them. So I don't know, that's kind of how I feel about it. But I do think the builds are really nice, and it's cool that they included the extra like scenery piece. So that
I agree, yeah.
the crate one came with the like I think it was like one of the like wedge plates, like the dark red with some like white slopes on it. I don't know, it's cool, nice setup, a little scene on it.
They feel like actual like Lego sets, the double packs. So I feel like for what you get, because the individual microfighters to me always, it was like every theme has that, like
Right,
superheroes
yeah.
has like mighty micros, and
Yeah.
like other like really small where they're like tiny and like not really, like the build's never really worth it,
Right, yeah.
unless you're like trying to collect them. They're more of a
Yeah.
collectible thing, but these double packs feel more like an actual Lego set with
Yeah,
what you're
I
getting.
can see
So
that. I can see that.
all right, so on to the battle packs.
Yep.
The first one we'll talk about, I guess, the Jawa battle pack, or Tatooine battle pack. I think it's
Tatooine
called.
battle pack is what it's called.
I like this one a lot. Great way to get a Tusken Raider. Great way to get Jawas, and I always like getting new astromech droids.
Oh yeah, new
Or half,
Astro droids.
it's half of a new one. It's
Yeah.
R2's body, right?
Yeah.
New
Which,
head.
I mean, it's correct, because that's
no,
what they use
it
in the movie.
Absolutely works, and
Yeah.
it's also one of the few instances in a battle pack where I actually like the build.
Right.
It looks like something, even though it's not something we see in the movies necessarily. It's something that looks like Jawas would actually utilize.
Right, yeah, it makes sense. It's not a speeder with like 10 guns on it.
Yeah, exactly. It's a little junker kind of little transport with a crane on it to pick up droids, like
Yeah, it
which is
makes
what
sense.
you'd expect scavengers to have.
Yeah, I actually really like it as well. I think the thing that I like the most is the fact that they gave us unique Jawas in this set. Like, they could have easily just thrown in the ones from like the Sandcrawler or something like that, but they went ahead and they gave us new updated versions, which I can always appreciate, because
Right.
then it gives you an extra incentive to go and buy it. And then also having an easy way to get those updated Tusken Raiders. I think this is a great figure, and it's awesome that it's in that battle pack. So I think we both are in agreement that it's a pretty good set.
Yeah, it's not what you expect when you think of a battle pack of something, an army build, but I think it's definitely a set you could still buy 2 or 3 of.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
Build up your Tatooine forces.
Oh, yeah. All right, so moving forward, now we're looking at the First Order Specialist Battle Pack.
Yes.
So you and I know a lot about First Order Battle Packs. It seems to be, it's our speciality,
We're
and
connoisseurs.
it is not our speciality in that Sith Lords are Obi-Wan's speciality, but it is our actual speciality, because we have good experiences with them.
We're not falsely boasting.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, so I like the Executioners. I think that's kind of the highlight of it. And then also getting one of the shuttle pilots with the open visor.
Yeah, for sure.
That First Order crew, man, we just can't get rid of that guy.
No, Lego has a whole warehouse full of them. They're just
Yeah.
like finding sets to sprinkle them into.
Oh my god. I feel like we have the same conversation with every battle pack. I think the last one, the Transport Speeder, was the one that got it most right, like giving us it had unique like officer and then 3 figures you would really want multiples of. So
Yes.
I think that was the closest thing to getting it right. But this one, I mean, I just really don't understand the inclusion of the First Order crew. This would have been a great opportunity to give us a battle pack with one of the snowtroopers in it. That way they would have doled out like 3 separate battle packs, giving you 3 different ways to, or they're giving you a way to get each of the like special trooper in a battle pack. I think that would have been really cool.
Yeah, I know. I think everyone shares our sentiment on that. I think everyone's sick of the ground crewman. He's a pretty boring figure. You don't need more than a handful if you're like doing any kind of first order mock. So not necessarily worth army building over. And this set's really mostly worth it for the executioners.
Yeah,
they're both pretty good. They look even better if you put Syndrome's arms on him. We'll do a plug for, if you check out, we'll have links to our Instagrams in the description, but go follow us. I have a picture, or I'll post a picture of what my executioners look like. They look
it's
really
basically
great.
a dual molded arm, so it's a better solution to what their arms should look like. It's a black sleeve with a white arm, which would look a lot better and more accurate than just having a full black arm on the executioner figure. So it's a really good mod if you guys have a extra Syndrome figure laying around.
Yeah, and I do like getting the pilot in that set with the open mask, because Kylo's shuttle has 2 of them. So we have one from this battle pack and then one from the Star Destroyer. So yeah, I don't feel the need to buy any more of this battle pack.
Yeah. Maybe they can like redeem the First Order crew by having like a really important First Order crew character in Episode 9.
The First Order's version of Rose.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe Finn should have been a First Order crew. That would help us feel a little bit more attached to them.
Sure.
But all right, so moving forward, we're going to get into more of the big sets. So let's first talk about this Grievous Speeder. How do you feel about this set, Garrett? I know you built it. I know you stayed up late at night adoring putting every piece of that thing together.
It's a good color.
Okay, dark blue is a good Lego color.
I like dark blue, especially with Separatist stuff.
Yeah, no, let's not get started there.
The figures are good.
Figures are very nice. I think that's really the only appeal to it.
That's honestly it. And the fact that this set is $30 is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like a slap in the face. It's 157 pieces, but $30. Only 2 figures. Like, what were they thinking, honestly? And the fact that it's also like too big for what it should be. Like, his actual speeder wasn't that big. I don't know. Like,
yeah, it's 2 figures that they know people will want. It's been a while since we've gotten either of these in a set.
I suppose.
You know, the last Grievous was in the Wheelbike set.
Yep. Mace was in that.
The ATTE.
Yep.
So these are both figures that people probably are missing, and so they're gonna have to buy this terrible set for $30. And yeah, no, I don't. I would say buy it if you really want those figures, because it is nice to get them both. But yeah, maybe use the pieces for another mock.
Yeah. All right, so now let's move on to the Cantina. I've heard a lot of mixed opinions about this. I think the build is generally good. Like, it meshes really well with the last Cantina that we got. A lot of people will say that, it's not a full Cantina, so it automatically sucks. Like, it's just a little cutout. And I think that's a little unfair. Like, I don't think every Lego set of everything in Star Wars has to be a complete representation of it. Like, sure. I think it's fine for them to do little vignettes of it. I think the thing that I would think is not cool about it is that there's no, obvious way to connect it to the last Cantina. I would have liked a little bit more continuity in that aspect. Like, they're essentially both represent 2 of the same side of the Cantina, so maybe it would have been nicer to give us the other side so it can mesh well with other people's collections. I think that would probably be my main criticism of it, but I do appreciate that we finally have a Wuher figure that I can put in the Cantina. So we're slowly getting the bits and pieces. Like, we got the Bith musicians last time. Now we have Wuher as well as an updated Greedo. So I think slowly but surely we're getting there.
Yeah, and getting a Sand Trooper is always nice. Those are really great. Those are really great looking figures,
especially with the white pauldron.
So it's nice to get updated one of those. I would say, especially if you missed the last Cantina, this one's really worth getting. Definitely. And even if you did get the last Cantina, this one adds, I think, with the Stormtrooper and Wuher the bartender, it's worth getting. And I think it's a fine set. It's put together well.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I just think it could have been a little bit more continuous with the previous Cantina. But sure. I think both of us have pretty good opinions on it. So the next one is going to be the most controversial Lego set probably ever, the First Order AT-ST. How do you feel about that bad boy?
I don't hate it as much as a lot of people do. It's a set based around a scene. It's a very specific moment in the movie where the top of an AT-ST gets ripped off and then runs around with BB-8 on top of it.
Right.
So for what it is, it's fine. It's just I think people heard about a First Order AT-ST were coming out and were expecting something else.
Right. Yeah. So I think this is one of those times where the expectations themselves kind of hampered the reality, which I think is actually a fitting metaphor for the Last Jedi
whole movie
as a whole. But honestly, I think I come from a different perspective in that I'm not a huge fan of the AT-STs that Lego has released. Like, I think there's some really nice mocks that do a better job at conveying what they look like. So I didn't really have strong opinions on it. And the fact that it wasn't a full AT-ST didn't bother me because I probably wouldn't have built it either way. But I think the price is the biggest issue. Like, having it be the same price as the last full AT-ST and then having this one not be a full AT-ST, and the build doesn't look any more, like, complicated or intricate than the last one.
Right.
I think that's the biggest problem with the set. The fact that it's so expensive, and like there was a recent set that came out 2 years ago that I guess that would have been
last
2
year.
years.
The Imperial AT-ST?
Yeah,
last year.
That wasn't in the first wave of Rogue One sets.
Oh, you're right. It was in the first wave.
Yeah, so it would have been 2 years ago.
Yeah.
That is pretty much supposed to represent the same thing, but you essentially get half of it for the same price. I think that's probably the biggest slap in the face I feel with this set. But either way, I don't have as strong opinions as some other people would have on it.
The figures are nice.
Figures are really nice. That's the only reason I got it. I did want the Rose with the dual molded hair and the hat on top. I think anytime we get anything dual molded with Star Wars in the Lego line, that's always a step in the right direction.
Right.
So then I guess next is going to be the Octo set. How do you feel about that one?
I love it. It's great.
Yeah, I love it too. I think the build is great. Finally getting Luke is the best thing ever.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially in a cheap set. They could have easily thrown him in like the Falcon or something, which would have really sucked. But the fact that they put him in a cheap set, I think was a really good service to the Lego community who have been wanting this figure for a really long time. And I think finally getting the Resistance version of Rey, like the Travelers version, that was also really nice. That's my favorite version of Rey, so I'm really happy to have that figure.
Nice. But yeah, and the fact that this set comes with a Porg, I think, is nice. I mean, that's the big marketing gimmick of The Last Jedi, so...
Yeah, it's the cash grab, as people would say. I think it's really easy to say, like, I wish I had included like 2 or 3 of these, but it is nice to finally get one, given that the only other set you could have gotten it was the UCS Falcon. So really happy to have that. And now that I have one, it's like I really want more of them.
I want a bunch of Porgs to infect the Falcon.
Just yeah.
All over. But yeah, great set, great price point, and good figures. Getting the Resistance Rey and the kind of old man Luke, both good additions, and for $30.
Yeah, there's really nothing wrong with the set. I think it's always nice when you say there's nothing wrong with the set, because that means that they did their job. Like, they provided a good set, good value for your money. So then that leaves us with the biggest set of the wave, which is probably the most near and dear to our hearts, the Defense on Crate set. How do you feel about this set, Garrett?
I love this set. I like it a lot. Like I've said, the speeder itself is probably my favorite build.
Yeah.
Out of any of the Last Jedi sets. My favorite set as a whole is still Kylo Ren's TIE Fighter, but as an individual build, like the way the speeder's put together, it's just super solid, and I love the scale of it, and it's like the appropriate amount of detail, and like good snot technique thrown in where I think applicable, and and the way I love the way this hangs down at like the perfect angle. I have zero complaints. I guess the only complaints I would have is the price point, maybe.
Yeah, $85.
85 is a lot. But I think for what you get, I think it's a pretty good set.
Right, yeah. I always do appreciate when you get like a full assortment of things. Like, I can imagine being a little kid wanting to stage a crate battle. And with this, you pretty much get everything you need for the Resistance side. And you'd probably have the ATM-6 on the other side. And boom, like, you have your battle right there. Like, you're good to go. It's akin to, like, the Snowspeeder set with the AT-AT. Like, I think those two go together the way this and the ATM-6 goes together. And the fact that they're both on shelves at the same time is also really nice. Because we didn't really get that the last time around. So, yeah, I do really like that. One thing that you mentioned, though, was scale, and I've seen a lot of people kind of complaining about that, the fact that this is still large compared to the ATM-6, which I think is probably more of a complaint about the ATM-6, because I do think like they probably could have raised the price point on that a little bit more to make it bigger, for one, to be scaled with the AT-AT, but then also to, I don't know, maybe have a better scale between this and that. For us, it's not really a big deal, because usually with anything scale-wise, like, I understand Lego's not going to make everything perfectly minifig scale. Like, if there's something that I want to be scaled correctly, I'm going to have to build it myself.
Sure.
But yeah, I really like this set. I think the minifig assortment is superb. Getting the Poe with the headset. Well, I think Luke. Poe with the headset on, I thought was a really cool hairpiece for them to include. Getting Emmett, as well as one of those newer styled, like, poncho resistance troops is also really cool. And of course, having another way to get some of those snow troopers with the skirts.
Yes, no, yeah, great minifigure selection. And yeah, I'm in agreement with you on the scale topic. People have complained that this is, like, if you put this next to the ATM-6, it looks kind of ridiculous. But yeah. I would rather them have, not worried about the ATM-6 when designing this, and worry about, like, because this is a set you can get to appropriate scale.
Right, yeah.
And so I think it's better on an individual set basis to apply it as well as you can to minifigure scale.
Right, yeah.
Then worry about what other sets you have in the line.
Yeah, I'd rather shrink down the big sets than shrink down the small sets.
Yes,
because the small ones are the ones that you can make, so you therefore should make them minifig scale.
For sure.
All right, so that's pretty much going to finish up this segment, guys. Let us know, what are your thoughts on this most recent rave? Like, which sets that you guys buy? Which ones do you like? Which ones do you hate? So that's going to move us on to the next segment, which is more of a general topic on LEGO Star Wars as a whole. Now, we've been on the Facebook groups lately. We've been talking to people. And someone made a post recently saying, what is the best era of LEGO Star Wars? And I commented on it that it's right now, like, easily, no doubt. And a lot of people were reacting to that.
They thought
I was joking. Yeah. And I'm just like, no, like, I genuinely think that now LEGO Star Wars sets are easily better than they have ever been. What is your opinion on it, Garrett?
No, I agree with you 100%. I think I have no nostalgia. Of soft spot for nostalgia.
Yeah.
My, like, older figures get the box treatment. Older sets, if a newer, better one comes out, that older set gets trashed usually. Not trashed. It gets parted out, or it gets the bin.
It gets poached.
But I think there are very few times where a re-released set did not do as good of a job as the previous version of it.
Definitely.
I can probably count them on one hand.
Yeah.
And the biggest, people always bring it up, is the 2007 MTT in the previous turbo tank.
Yeah.
Sometimes the ATTE, although I think even though the newest one is smaller, it still, like, does its job. It looks
nice.
Like
it looks fine. I don't think it's lacking in any way.
Yeah, and so I think there's very few times LEGO misses that and doesn't improve, but usually it's always improving because we get new pieces every year, new molds that can be utilized, new colors become more readily available.
Yeah, just like I think the fact that things are a lot more structurally sound than they used to be, that's probably the biggest thing.
Absolutely.
Like, the fact that this set is so sturdy, like, look at this design. Could you imagine if LEGO tried to accomplish something like this like 10 years ago? Like, what that would look like?
They couldn't even build a TIE fighter without it, like, feeling it would break every time you set it down.
Exactly, yeah. So being able to do something like this and having it so solid but also look really nice, I think shows just the improvements that LEGO is making. The fact that all these new parts are coming out just, I think, improves LEGO sets as a whole. Like, people look at the 2007 era of LEGO, which was when, like, the first UCS Falcon came out, and around that time we were getting a lot of, like, big grandiose sets. But, like, look at that old Falcon compared to the new Falcon. The fact that we do get these new parts nowadays is the difference. I think that's the most clear indicator that, like, the parts, like, assortment that LEGO has right now, the possibilities are so much more greater than what they could have done like 10 years ago. I think if there's, like, maybe any argument to be made, it's that, like, oh, maybe I preferred, like, the types of sets that came out at this time. Like, maybe I'm a really big fan of the Clone Wars, so I liked in 2D13 when there was a gunship and an ATTE on the shelves, which is really great. But I don't think when you're considering, like, are LEGO sets as a whole better or not, that you can really take that into account, because if LEGO released, like, an ATT and a gunship today, I'm sure they could improve it, like, upon what they did previously. Just because it's not on the shelves right now doesn't mean that, like, LEGO sets as a whole, like, suck right now. They're actually, I think, doing a pretty stellar job with pumping out not only stuff from the new movies, but also trying to throw in, like, older things before. Like, if you guys think about it, back in, like, 2007, other than, like, the Clone Wars movie stuff, which was that 07 or 08? I think that would have been 08, actually.
08, you think so?
It's 07 or 08. But the point I was making is that, like, back in the day, LEGO pretty much could make whatever they want. They didn't have to produce stuff for new movies, so they had the ability to maybe give you more of the things that you wanted. Like, they didn't have to have, like, certain ways reserved for certain movies. They could make, things from all different parts of Star Wars canon. throughout the entire year. But now, like, they're serving two different things. Like, they're trying to give you prequel stuff, original trilogy stuff, Clone Wars stuff, while also giving you sequel stuff. So I can't, like, fault them just because there's no Republic gunship on the shelves right now. I'm not going to say, oh, Lego is just awful and they're not making great sets anymore.
Yeah, and no, I've been a fan of the new waves, like the new movie sets.
Right.
There's been some good stuff in there. Like the Rogue One wave, I thought had a lot of great stuff in there.
Oh yeah,
the
Rogue One, I think the price was great.
The price points were all great. The most expensive set of that wave was $90.
Yeah.
And it's a great, that Krennic Shuttle's a great set.
Yep.
And The Last Jedi, like I love X-Wing, so getting new types of X-Wings is cool. I don't consider those like, people say like, oh, we get a new X-Wing every year, and I think that's kind of a disservice.
Yeah.
Like, they're different enough, and like even the Resistance X-Wings have different colors to them and different kind of build styles, so.
Yeah, I think it's the same argument people make with a Falcon as well. Like, oh, we're getting another Falcon, we get too many Falcons. Like, there's a reason these sets are remade. You can't both be like, oh, why haven't we gotten like a new Cloud City recently, and also be like, oh, Lego releases this set too much. Like, the reason Lego does release these sets, or re-release them rather, is to give like new builders an opportunity to get them. Like, if I'm a new Star Wars fan and I get into it and there's no Millennium Falcon on the shelves for like 5 years, I'm going to be kind of annoyed at that. Like, I would like for, you know, all the important key pieces of Star Wars ships to be available to the buyers at really any given time, because that's what's going to keep the fans coming in and keep the new fans satisfied, because everyone who's into Lego Star Wars wasn't into Lego Star Wars when the first UCS Falcon came out or when the last Republic gunship came out. So I think re-releases are actually good and beneficial to the community.